not to say put yourself through ridiculous situations, but to show that you are willing to go the extra mile. And in this case, I feel like, okay, that is an interesting step.
And I think maybe it was something that he did together with his NPark colleagues. Right?
Like Friday night, hey bro, you want dog collar or not?
We're deciding whether to ban these things, so why don't we try that ourselves? It's kind of like, imagine you say that about drugs and all that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
No, it feels like it's been a while since we recorded.
Yeah. Episode 501, man.
501.
Wow, that's crazy, yeah?
It's the new, what do you call 100 years?
A century.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Century. I was thinking there's decade, millennium, millennium, but I totally forgot century. New century of podcasts.
Yeah, 501.
501.
Right, it's a new era.
New era.
Given that now it's part of the Eras tour.
New era. The Yalapa goes to the street.
Yeah. That era. Yeah.
But I mean, like, literally, it has kind of seeded something in us to do more of that kind of shit, right?
Yeah, I think we super enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And based on the comments on YouTube, for those who haven't seen it on YouTube, people enjoyed listening to it and watching it also. Yeah, so it's quite surprising to me. I kind of like, I think even during the podcast, we were like, oh, sounds like we're giving a tour. We're a bit self-deprecating about it. But yeah, I think people enjoyed it. And some people even privately messaged me saying that it meant a lot to them because they lived and grew up in the area and just going down the street in a bicycle and even being stuck in that same petrol kiosk that we were stuck in.
Yeah,
it meant a lot to them.
Actually, yeah, like, because I grew up in Tampines, right? If someone were to do something in Tampines and they're talking through all these kind of things, I also would feel nostalgic, yeah.
Yeah. And not just driving through, but really taking your time to go through.
Talking through.
I guess that's the joy. It's not like we're riding a bicycle, then we stop and then we record, We're literally like moving around as we're recording. Right?
And you can't go fast.
Yeah.
So you have chances to look around.
Yeah.
I think even Tristan got to know the area very well.
Via the bus, right?
Yeah,
trying
correct.
to catch
up with the camera and all.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. So see, maybe there might be more of that kind of stuff in future.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And we're doing it in the midst of where like about
halfway
two-thirds through Taylor Swift.
4 shows already.
4 shows down, 2 to go.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend just landed in town.
Confirm already?
Yeah, it's in the papers. Travis Kelce lands in Singapore to support girlfriend. I
mean, I don't think it'll be hard to miss because she's 1.96 meters.
Oh, yeah. But sightings of her in the wild have been rare.
Only one, right? One restaurant.
Yeah,
Coma. I thought MoMA.
MBS.
Not MoMA.
Coma, yeah.
Coma.
But the security,
super tight.
Very tight, yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, yeah?
Yeah, crazy, yeah.
Then this kind of echoes what we said about her not really being out and about engaging with everyone.
Yeah, true. But I guess, can you imagine if she really did engage? If she really did like what Ed Sheeran did and went to do Teh Tarik at Arab Street?
Yeah.
It'll be mayhem.
It will be mayhem, yeah.
Mayhem. Now I see other people also jumping on board the Taylor Swift bandwagon for PR and press, like giving out chicken rice and shit
correct, yeah.
to people outside the stadium.
Heck, even Edwin Tong was going around exchanging friendship bracelets with the Cat 100 people, right? Yeah.
Oh.
I've learned that's the term for those people standing outside
100.
the stadium. It's called Cat 100.
Cat 100.
Because there's up to Cat 12, right, for Taylor Swift tickets. So 100 is kind of like the joke, right? And then, Edwin Tong's going around, almost like, it felt like I was watching one of those, American presidential campaigns. They go around shaking hands with babies or like homeless people and like, give them stuff to feel better.
I mean, if I was him, I would be there every day, man. Like, everyone there, they know that you had a part to play in it.
Yeah.
You feel them sure.
Yeah.
Right, you just go there, you're like, oh yeah, you're enjoying yourself. Yeah, that's because of me.
Yeah.
It's because of me, guys. It's because of me.
Victory lap. Right?
Victory lap. Yeah.
But yeah, we're kind of 2/3 through. And how's your Taylor Swift fatigue setting in?
I mean, I think it's like white noise now. Like, in terms of even doing research for what to talk on this podcast, going on social media, there's just Taylor Swift everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a bit, how you say, I mean, like, ambivalent.
I see.
Yeah, you?
I enjoy watching, like taking the train and then seeing people on their way to the concert, like dressed up to the nines, and you know straight away they're going for Taylor Swift concert, right? There's really this NDP air about it. Like, you know, NDP, everyone dresses in red and white. It sounds like everyone's like glittering or they have like
depends on your era, lah.
Depends on what era you are.
Depends on your era. No, but one thing I find damn weird is these videos of people who are obviously taking a video of themselves crying to the songs. Like, what is the thought process there? If someone else is taking the video of you, sure, but unless you want to document your own emotional moment of listening to Taylor Swift live,
they probably learned it from LinkedIn. All the fucking lame LinkedIn posts of people, like bosses crying.
One guy.
Crying while laying off people. But I mean, LinkedIn itself is so cringe, right? There's all these people posting photos of themselves talking about their new mission this year and all that. I'm like, shit, God.
Cringe shit.
Yeah. But you're big on LinkedIn, right?
Trying to do more, lah.
Yeah. So how do you balance needing to be part of that cringe, but also like
I mean, okay, so LinkedIn, like every social media platform, there's pros and cons, lah.
Yeah.
It's super cringy. People post some stuff that is just a glorified humble brag.
Yeah.
But you can actually make connections there, lah. Especially for people who resonate with what you're trying to do, be it our Yalabar or Folklore or Ministry of Funny. So I think, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But I am trying to do more.
Can you divorce the humble bragging from the networking part? Like, can you do the networking without having to do all the humble brag?
I think writing a LinkedIn post is damn hard.
It's an art in itself, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm good at it or something, but whenever I do it, I'm like, fuck. Because there's all these things that, you write the one line and then you... I consciously try to avoid that.
Yeah.
And I try to just write as though like I'm messaging a friend or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want is to post something and to come across as like that. Like someone who doesn't know me, they read it like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Yeah. So I try not to.
So yeah, to me it feels very inauthentic because it always starts with they try to be authentic by starting with some story of failure.
Yeah.
But somehow the post will end up with some story of ultimate victory.
Yeah, they're
like
amazing.
They did this amazing thing that they could never have dreamed of themselves doing. I'm like, that is super inauthentic. Like, okay, we talk about your failure and what you learned from there, but don't end with the fucking the triumphant thing at the end, right?
Yeah, but that's the LinkedIn language. But I will say that there is no value. So Terence, can you please get on it? Okay.
Oh yeah. Value for networking. I see that.
Yeah, but even networking, not in a like very transactional kind of way. You can actually meet some good people there,
Yeah, but those posts just like cringe.
But that's like social media,
I find it worse, man.
Then you mute them.
Oh, mute them. Okay.
Yeah, you mute. Then you follow. You mute. Some people post some cool shit,
But I mean, you don't want to mute them also because it's like when you drive past a car crash, you kind of have to turn to look at it, right?
Then you want to have your cake and eat it too, is it, Terence?
I want to drive to my destination, but I want to stop to look at the car crash.
Like every time I post something, I tag you. I don't even know whether you see it.
Sometimes I do, yeah.
Oh, you do, sometimes you do.
Now a bit more, yeah.
A bit more,
yeah.
So everyone listening, go and add Terence as a connection.
Yes.
To give him reason to come onto LinkedIn more.
Yeah. Especially if you write a lot of those cringe-worthy posts.
I
like to read.
Love that shit.
But yeah, that's why maybe these people are filming themselves crying at Taylor Swift concerts. It's about the authenticity and at the end, there's this triumphant, connection to Taylor Swift that they feel at the end.
I mean, I can imagine how like you want to remember this moment for the rest of your life,
Correct.
But part of it probably also, I'm sure some of them do it for views,
So why you forgive it on LinkedIn, but then when these young kids do it on like about Taylor Swift and all that, you're so cynical about it?
Who said I forgive it on LinkedIn? I fucking hate that shit also,
man. You just
man.
say why? You just say everyone should do it. Everyone should get on it.
Yeah, but same way I say everyone should own knives, but like someone kills someone with a knife, I'm like, fuck you lah.
Okay.
So like, I'm not saying everyone should get knives. I'm saying knives is like a tool that's useful lah.
Yeah.
But of course, there are posts on LinkedIn that I'm like, oh my god, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Same with every social media platform.
Correct.
So I'm not seeing it as something that is above and beyond all this kind of nonsense. I'm saying, there's nonsense there, but there's also good stuff lah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that maybe that's what these teenage girls are doing lah. Is their LinkedIn lah, right? When they post about them crying and then after that ultimately enjoying the concert. That's like an emotional cringe post lah, right?
Yeah lah.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe I'm pretty sure there's a ton of videos of people crying at Taylor Swift concerts, guys and girls. So yeah, so I'm just like I just see it, I just scroll past.
The proposal videos, you okay?
I haven't seen.
Yeah?
I actually haven't seen that many.
I've seen, there've been like at least a couple already.
I haven't seen.
Pardon the pun. Yeah, quite a lot of people proposing. But I mean, small yellow butt discussion, but do you think it's cool to propose at a Taylor Swift concert?
Each person your own cup of tea. I think I can imagine some people loving it.
Yeah.
Right, but some people not lah. So that's why I wouldn't fault them for proposing there. If that's their jam, go ahead. You. I can see the Grinch coming out.
Yeah, I won't fault them, but I would say it's easy lah, right? It's an easy proposal. Come on, like just proposing. There's already a crowd inbuilt there. You know, there are already people celebrating. All you need to do is just bring the ring, get on the knee during the song "Love Story." That's all. You know, everyone's doing it.
So for you, like the proposal, there must be effort. Is it? It must be hard.
It has to be something. Either you are, you could go all the way, like gather a group of friends, make phone calls, and like this Taylor Swift concert is like you just pay and buy tickets.
Dude, from personal experience, when I proposed, I had this whole plan that failed so miserably, and in the end, it worked out. I just proposed at home.
Okay.
And it was good. It was great. It was wonderful.
But there was a plan, lah.
There was a plan, lah.
Yeah. Same. I also had a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, everything it started to look like a disaster, lah, right? Weather and all these things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I just did it. And maybe the juxtaposition of how shitty the planning was versus what the final outcome was nice, lah. Yeah.
You still show effort, lah. You still show effort.
Yeah. And maintaining your composure in spite of all the craziness going on. Whereas I find that the Taylor Swift concert it's easy, man. It's like tailor-made for proposals, like pardon the pun again. Right.
But what if like you're like the person you're proposing to is a huge Taylor Swift fan, and for them it's like, wow, this magical moment got even more magical.
Yeah. Even then, I would, if I was like a girl or a person being proposed to, I'd feel like you could have done something else. Like you could have done a Taylor Swift themed like room or party, private party, or I mean, even you want it to be public also. Something could have happened, like outside the stadium on the night that you're not actually in the middle of a concert, and then you suddenly have to make this life-changing decision.
But maybe for the person, it was a hell yes.
In fact, that tells you it's even worse because like you're so emotional. Yeah, peer pressure is so emotional at that time. Imagine if you have to say no. You don't want to get married at the point, how embarrassing it would be for everyone.
But then the thing is, if it depends on the environment you're being proposed to that makes you decide whether it's a yes or no, then that's not a good proposal circumstance.
Correct. Yeah. That's why I think it's a bad decision to propose there.
But I can totally imagine some people saying it's the best place ever.
For the guy, yeah.
For the guy
easy,
or girl.
Easy.
Like to me, I would never ever have thought about doing a proposal that public. But I can imagine some people do and some people enjoy it.
Yeah.
And there might be listeners also who've been proposed to in a very public setting and they fucking love it.
Public is fine. It's just that I feel that this is very low effort the Taylor Swift proposal. If you ask me, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
So if they tell you, your proposal story, Taylor Swift, you immediately screw this shit, I'm done, then walk off, is it?
No, just like, interesting. You're just like one of the 360,000 people who probably had the same idea also,
I don't know whether everybody went to Taylor Swift knowing wanting to propose.
Correct. Yeah. But it's like so obvious.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Like, I can't wait for you to meet someone who actually got proposed to at Taylor Swift.
We'd love to hear the story.
Yeah. So, if you know, like, just the Grinch, Terrence, would love to hear your wonderful story.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a beautiful story. I'm just saying, I'm just looking at the surface. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe Taylor Swift meant something to them when they were going through really dark times in their lives.
Suddenly, Travis Kelce proposed to Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah, he's in town. Yeah.
Then that one, how? Low effort also.
I mean, she's the star, right?
Yeah, she's the star.
This is her show. She can do whatever she wants. Right? I'm saying those people who got tickets and all that. Yeah, a bit different. Yeah.
Funny, yeah.
But don't be judgmental because if anything, this is what the government wants, right? More couples applying for BTOs.
More babies,
everything. The
more
dragon
babies,
year.
yeah.
So, go forth and make your love story.
And interesting also that while Taylor Swift is here, it was the week of parliamentary sittings.
Yeah, ton of them. A lot of things being discussed,
Yeah. And two of our topics are directly from there.
Yeah.
But before we jump in, anything to plug, Terrence?
If you're new to this podcast because of episode 499 or 500, welcome. But if you've already been here for a while, it always helps us if you do one thing to, spread the word about the podcast, whether it's to subscribe, to follow on or whatever platforms you're following on, or to tell one person about it. That helps a lot. And if you want to work with us, what do you do?
You can email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com. And you can also visit us at www.ministryoffunny.com.
Yeah.
The website is still in development. So, I mean, still some tweaks.
Yeah.
So if you have any feedback, just holler at us as well.
Speaking of feedback, I mean, kudos. This is Harish's baby, right? This website thing. So I think received a lot of compliments about it. So kudos to you on that. But there were also a lot of people pointing out a lot of typos.
I know.
The first day.
I know. And like last night, 11:15 p.m., while I was just, getting ready to, okay, come off work and all that, you messaged me typo. I was like, Terrence.
No, I didn't message you. I forwarded you screenshots that other people were sending me of typos.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But yeah, like quite exciting space to be in the website and all, and see what can come out of that.
Yeah. And it's actually, even for us, I'm sure for you also, it was fun to see everything under one roof.
Oh yeah. Correct.
See all the projects and all under one page, and
like now, like we also, like, some people have signed up for our newsletter, which is not going to be like a weekly thing. We're just going to email you when we have big updates.
Yeah,
we might start selling shit.
Yeah,
and all be on the website.
Yeah, cool,
man. All right, sweet.
Let's jump right into
it.
Parliament. What are people talking about this Taylor Swift week?
I mean, of course, Taylor Swift. Like, a bunch of ministers also mentioned Taylor Swift.
Yes.
But the one thing that we're going to be talking about is a case that we spoke about previously to a certain extent also. It was something relating to the POFMA that Leong Mun Wai got issued a few weeks ago. And to recap that case, what happened was like around the week when the Singapore budget was being announced, Leong Mun Wai went to visit this elderly couple in West Coast GRC, and who were apparently facing some difficulties. The husband's blind, the wife has a leg issue, so it's tough for them to even go see the social service officers. And he put a Facebook post kind of hinting that they are not getting the help they need from the government. And a few days later, he was issued with a POFMA. And the government came out, so also like a few days later, and detailed in quite a lot of info about the couple's MediSave, CPF savings. They didn't dox them, they didn't identify them, but they put it all out there to make it very clear that they're actually getting a lot of help. So the context of this discussion was one of the parliamentary questions fielded by Gerald Giam from Workers' Party was, and I quote, to ask the Minister for Social and Family Development regarding the POFMA correction direction issued on 15 February. Basically talking about whether or not all the details of CPF and MediSave, whether it aligns with the privacy protection standards, and whether it was necessary because it could lead to identification. So then Eric Chua came out and gave more context, which kind of roped in Pritam Singh, leader of the opposition from Workers' Party. And there was an interesting debate that happened. So that was the context. Were you surprised when this issue came up in Parliament?
I think it was just kind of funny. Pritam Singh suddenly got pulled into that. It's like when someone adds you to this WhatsApp group and then you're like, what is the context and everything? And then you read, and he actually feels quite distant from everything, but somehow he has become like the main lead in the whole thing. In fact, Leong Mun Wai wasn't involved in this discussion.
He didn't say anything at all, right?
So I was like, what? Why suddenly it becomes about Pritam again?
Yeah, because to clarify, the PQ was asked. I mean, it wasn't asked, it's in the document already. So Eric Chua stood up, and he's the Senior Parliamentary Secretary for Social and Family Development. And essentially what he came out and gave the context was like, after the post went live, the volunteers on the ground went to the couple. The couple said they were surprised to see Mr. Leong there. And then from talking to the couple, Mr. Chua and his team found out that the couple actually reached out to Pritam 4 years ago. But they didn't hear back. So they were saying it's quite odd that Pritam Singh forwarded to Leong Mun Wai, and the day after Leong Mun Wai went, then this is just 4 days before the budget was being disclosed. And then he went on to kind of say that, this is an old art of politics or something about how it's not good when stuff like this or the plight of the underprivileged are politicized, and kind of say, this is not good that sometimes, you want to affect the perception of the government and go out. And he asked for clarification.
Yeah.
And that's when Pritam put up his hand and he said, what happened, and if I can summarize, was he did get a letter from them 4 years ago.
Yeah.
There was no address.
Yeah.
And recently when he was cleaning out his office, he came across the letter again.
Yeah.
He decided to get in touch, heard from them that they are still facing issues and they can't go to the social service officer because he's blind, she's injured. And because they are in a constituent that Pritam does not oversee.
West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast. He forwarded to Leong Mun Wai, who is in that constituency. And then Leong Mun Wai went the next day.
And because I think PSP has a community fund that does help residents of the constituency.
Yeah.
So Pritam was under assumption that maybe something could be done to help them.
Correct. And then that's where, apparently his involvement ended.
Yeah.
And then he kind of highlighted also that it wasn't anything planned for the social media post to come out and to politicize the issue.
Yeah.
And then there was a back and forth between him and Eric Chua. Anything else I missed out?
I think, that's the crux of it.
We can go into the semantics of what was said, but that was the crux of it. And then Eric Chua gave another short response, but Pritam had no chance to respond again because the Speaker of Parliament moved on and he put a Facebook post out just to set the facts.
Yeah.
Which kind of reiterated what he said.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, he does, and he did in that post say that he does receive all these forms of letters and he tries to assist as best as he can, regardless of wherever it comes from, right? And sometimes, the important note is that he says that he also sometimes reaches out to the Ministry of Social, the MSF itself, right?
Yeah.
Not just opposition parties for help, right? So it depends on the situation and the constituency and everything.
And in this case, I believe he did reach out. But he also told Mr. Leong that, okay, if you're going down, you might want to just check in with this couple.
Yeah.
So that's the context. So, you saw the exchange also, right, in Parliament. What do you make of it?
I did think that there was a point, right, to what Eric Chua was saying, in that the facts had not been laid out properly. And it would put MSF in a bad light, right? Based on what Leong Mun Wai had posted, which later turned out to be, according to POFMA, falsehoods, right?
Yeah.
And the MSF was very aggressive in laying out the details without without really doxing the couple either, right?
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
So in some sense, there was a need for MSF to respond quite with the facts, right, to these allegations. I think that's the point that you definitely can give to Eric Chua for, right?
Yeah.
But his point about politicizing the whole issue, that one I find a bit more iffy. But how about you? What do you feel about what he was saying?
I get the point that he was making about how, it's not good to paint a false picture of what is actually the case when the government is helping. But the way the thing unfolded, because he was the one who first said that, I'm not sure of the intentions, and I'm paraphrasing. I'm not sure of the intentions of Pritam and Mr. Leong, but, it is an old art. Where you say something false in public to change people's perspective and get votes. And he said, I'm not saying that's the motivation, but and that's why I need clarification. And then Pritam came and he was the one who first brought up that this is being politicized. And it's like saying, hey, Terence, you sent me the typo last night, right? It's an old art. You send it before someone sleeps so that they cannot have sweet dreams.
They have to think about work before they...
Yeah. And I'm not saying you did that, Terence. But, and I seek your clarification, honorable member.
Yes.
You also will be like, fuck you, okay? I'm putting this
correct.
thing in your head when I think you were just forwarding. I give you benefit of the doubt. Right? Because I know I also have been guilty last time, late night messaging you. And I know, okay, it's not the best thing to do. But the moment that is put as the context, whatever you say, it is going to be with that context in mind. Then you almost are guilty unless proven innocent.
Yeah, correct.
So when I saw that, I'm is that really necessary?
Mm.
So that was my take.
Yeah, in some ways, what you're saying also is that bringing it up in Parliament it becomes political already, right?
But Gerald Gam was the one who asked.
Yes, he asked about the need to give so many details, right?
Yeah.
Like, how about the confidentiality of the assistance they receive and all that?
Yeah.
But bringing up the origins.
Actually, that one also, there was a Radin Mas MP that brought it up.
Melvin Yong.
Melvin Yong.
Yeah, correct.
He asked how Mr. Leong got access to the info and whether there was any leak. So Eric Chua was clarifying that.
So, but even just in the act of bringing up to Parliament is sort of, it becomes part of politics already, right? So it's kind of hard to divorce talking about it politically and just talking about it and letting the POFMA be the end of it, right? Because I mean, if the POFMA was already issued and then Leong Mun Wai already retracted or at least corrected what he said, that should have been the end of that, But bringing it up in Parliament and dragging in who they first reached out to and everything, that to me, a bit of irony, right? Saying that someone else is politicizing the issue,
Yeah. Because even after Pritam responded and Eric Chua came back, he ended off by saying something that I go back to my original thing, that this kind of thing should not be politicized, because every time when I do my walks and I see the people in these rental flats, it pains me. And it just feels like at the end of the day, if someone doesn't go deep, you look at the article title, even this is CNA, Pritam Singh referred couple in POFMA case to Leong Mun Wai. Plight of vulnerable shouldn't be politicized, says Eric Chua.
Yeah.
Just from that title, what does it sound like?
It sounds like Pritam was politicizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you go to petir.sg, which is the PAP website about the stories from within, the only excerpt they show of Eric Chua is his own statement without Pritam's rebuttal.
Yeah. In fact, the headline, I think, was SPS, Eric Chua calls out leader of the opposition, Pritam Singh, for not offering help to a vulnerable couple directly.
Oh, that's Petir, right?
Yeah. It's sort of like, but with I think the context missed out is that they are not under Pritam's constituency. And the point was that he was referring, he wasn't sure whether he had actually responded within those 4 years since he got the letter. And so he actually forwarded to Leong Mun Wai to go and take a look, right? So it's not really true that he did not do anything either, right? Based on what this headline is implying.
And apparently, I mean, by Pritam's own words, he did reach out to MSF as well. And he asked the couple, have you gotten help? And they said for them, they are not the most mobile. So when you look at this, you're like, this is totally politicizing it. Because Petir, which is the subheader, the PAP story told from within, is just that article.
And the headlines, I think, like what you say, the mainstream media headlines are painting that, just quoting Eric Chua directly, right? Without, if you don't dig deeper into the context, you end up thinking that, Pritam's just playing politics.
And it also sounds like Pritam not on the ball.
Not on the ball, it's one of two things. Not either he's playing politics or he's not on the ball, right? So that's why he really deer caught headlights when he's called up for this.
If you tell me, 4 years ago, something that we never update this YouTube title or something 4 years ago, I was like, hey.
How you hold me to it, man? 4 years. Wow.
4 years. So
4 years is before COVID,
4 years before COVID. So then, because I don't think Pritam had any idea that this was coming. And then then you look at it. Okay, the guy who asked the question, Melvin Yong, he's from PAP, right? So it's almost he's throwing the alley-oop for Eric Chua to lay the smackdown and kind of establish this supposed or alleged plan between Pritam and Leong Mun Wai.
But you think any fault should be given to Pritam for not being more proactive in terms of following up with this couple?
That one, I think, fault. Ideally he'd be able to follow up, but it's totally understandable why he didn't. So I wouldn't say there's a fault. And I mean, even back then, he said he didn't know which constituency they were in because there was no address, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just something fell through the cracks.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so that's another point also, that there wasn't a lot of details to fall back on for him.
Yeah.
Not knowing that which constituency this person was from. Maybe probably just a phone number or something, right? That was left behind. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like wrong time, wrong place, right? But then again, people online are saying like, hey, why does it always seem like there's a lot of wrong time, wrong place when it comes to the Workers' Party, the way they handle the internal affairs and all this kind of thing. Don't know whether it's by design or whatever, or people pointing it out or what. But yeah, there's always this. Sometimes you feel like, how come he's always in this kind of situation where it feels like, unlucky or what, or whether should he do more to as the leader of the opposition, especially, he should do more to assert his authority. And in some ways, like what MSF did to clarify the situation, do a much more detailed job of like clarifying why exactly it took this long to respond and all that.
But then to what extent, because 4 years ago, I mean, if we want to hold him to that standard, what about the people we reached out to from authorities when we got screwed over by hook and were owed 205,000? There were many emails that were also not responded. Right? They left us hanging, right? So then you hold the standard across the board, and I would say, like, okay, MPs, be it minister or not, they're probably overloaded like shit, crazy, right? And things will fall through the cracks. And same way, if this will happen to a PAP MP, I think 4 years ago something falls through the cracks. Okay, it's not ideal, but these kind of things happen. Yeah. So that's where. But you're saying that maybe like just because opposition or MPs in general are under such microscopes, he should have detailed a bit more about why 4 years lapsed.
Yeah, maybe. Because he's under such great scrutiny all the time, right? So it's kind of like he kind of needs to, I mean, let's say like what happened with Raisa Khan and all that. The chain of events that happened, led up to the Raisa Khan saga. It left a lot of people like with question marks, right, about the internal processes within the Workers' Party, and situations like this don't help, That's what I'm saying, I'm not saying that he can't. That some things will fall through the cracks, but I feel like maybe he needs to almost be more aggressive in his counter attack or his defense of situations like this. It just feels very like a bit like weak in terms of the defense, just a Facebook post like this.
And it ended with like him looking somewhat, not in the clear. Right?
Yeah. And it leaves a lot of like, this. It again makes people question about internal processes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is not what they need at this point.
Because even like Eric Chua's answer about whether it was aligned with the level of disclosure by the privacy protection standards and whether it was necessary didn't feel that convincing also. Because okay, so actually if it wasn't for Leong Mun Wai's visual post, there was no other picture, right?
Yeah. So actually, they weren't really identified docs or anything.
They weren't docs.
It was Leong Mun Wai who actually came the closest to docs.
Because he had a picture of them in the house and all.
Yeah.
But so in this case, but the sad thing also, if the converse of Pritam not doing anything, like seeing the letter and like, you know what, just 4 years ago, screw it, it would actually be better for him. And that's the sad thing.
That's the thing about politics.
Yeah. Like he forwarded it to Leong Mun Wai, whose constituent it is. He was, I mean, even giving him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't plan to have Leong Mun Wai or instigate him to do the post. It felt like it was still reaching out for help.
Yeah.
But in the end, what happens? He kena arrow in parliament.
Yeah, correct. Sometimes, if that email comes in at like 4:59 p.m., sometimes it's better to just like ignore it and just wait until the next day to look at it, right? Rather than like try and be on the ball about it and all that, right? There's one thing, I guess there's one thing you learn about corporate life, right? Like sometimes, so what if you send out the email at before 5 p.m. or what, right? Does it necessitate you to
So you're saying in this
right
case,
thing?
does it necessitate him to do the right thing?
in some ways, what you're pointing out is that there's this perverse incentive to just ignore the email already, right?
Just ignore.
Because he go and get he go and meddle in some other constituency or some other political party's area, right? Area of interest. And then he gets dragged into this mess and becomes the punching bag for the whole thing.
It's like when your friend's going through relationship problems and all, you lend a lending ear. Wow, then you kena screwed lah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I don't know, this whole thing also felt like, I think it was a good question to ask. Eric Chua's response and the way he kind of insinuated that link was, it just makes you go like, why have to? That is politics lah. Politics.
That's politics.
Yeah.
But, talking about sometimes politicians going above and beyond their job scope to their own detriment. This one is also another politician who has gone above and beyond to make a point, right? And,
7 times he went above and beyond.
And the headline also was quite sensational. I think when I first came across it, I was like, what the hell? But what is this headline?
It is the headline. I mean, just reading, say, like, let me choose, Straits Times with a headline that actually sounds more mothership. Tan Kiat how zaps himself with electronic dog collar, fails at level 7.
Yeah.
Mothership, at least a bit more context. Singapore MP tries electric dog collar on himself, says NParks not looking at banning its use on animals but to develop guidelines to prevent cruelty.
Yeah.
The Straits Times article, it really sounds like some BDSM king.
Actually, I thought the reverse.
Is
because
it?
The Straits Times article comes with a picture of him with the dog collar around his arm. So then he's zapping himself there. But you look at the mothership one, it's a picture of him looking like kind of like sleepy or coy. Generally just looking, away from camera. And then next to it is a image of a lady with the dog collar around her neck, right? And
I did not notice.
But the image just feels much more like what you say BDSM than the Straits Times one to me.
Oh, so Mothership went BDSM with the image.
Yes.
But proper with the title.
Yes.
Straits Times went BDSM with the title, but proper with the image.
Yeah, because the Mothership was like Singapore MP tries electric dog collars on himself, And then you look at the image, immediately you think that he put it around his neck, right?
Yeah. I mean, okay, Yahoo probably the best. SMS Tan Kiat how personally tested a range of electric dog collars on himself. So it's a test lah.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Straits Times is he zapped himself. Wow, damn shook, no. Fail at level 7.
Yeah.
Then Mothership, tries electronic dog collars. So at first I was thinking how did he bring this up in Parliament? But it actually wasn't him lah. It was the MP Louis Ng, who was asking and following up on some guidelines that were published in 2022 about standardizing practices in dog breeding, adoption, training, and behavior rehabilitation lah. So Louis Ng just said if there's any update on its consideration of banning electric collars for animal training.
Yeah.
And he was on who mentioned, I believe the Tan Kiat how has, I think SMS Tan himself tried the use of the electric collar and it's painful. Obviously, it's painful for the dogs as well.
Yeah. So there's something quite interesting about the exchange there.
Yeah.
The earlier case where Melvin Yong sort of did an alley-oop for Eric Chua to slam dunk over Pritam, right?
Yeah.
In this case, it doesn't seem like that thing because Louis Ng is a PAP MP, but it didn't seem like he was throwing an alley-oop for Tan Kiat how to slam dunk because Tan Kiat how seemed very surprised that this was actually revealed in Parliament. He did not know that. He claimed that he doesn't know that it was going to be brought up like that.
And he didn't post any pictures.
Yeah, because he's never actually posted anything about it, right?
Yeah.
So and you watch Louis Ng his line of questioning. I think Louis Ng, his background really was from the animal activism space, right? Before he became MP. So you can tell that generally where his allegiances lie, right? And similar to a lot of dog lovers out there, right? That they I think the ban of the devices is what they want, right? But yeah, so it was quite almost like a what is the update? Why are we not already banning this thing? What is the ministry's concerns? Literally paraphrasing, but that's the tone of what he was asking, right? And so Tan Kiat's response was, he came out a bit sheepish, like, oh, I didn't know that this was going to be brought up and everything, right? So it's quite interesting, like the dynamic. It shows you that it's not always like that situation of a fellow party member providing alley-oop for someone else to slam dunk, right?
But actually, I think it was in some way like a small alley-oop.
Okay.
Because I think like when at first I thought, okay, what did Tan Kiat come out and say, okay, guys, I tried to call her myself.
Yeah.
All up to level 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Then there would be like a bit LinkedIn humble braggy. But the fact that someone else brought it up and like I think he genuinely had not shared anymore.
Yeah.
I think it actually paints him in a good light. Because to me, I'm like, hey, that is awesome. The fact
also,
that
you liked it that he did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like one of those things, okay, so the one thing that is a criticism we always hear is that the people in power are disconnected from reality.
Yeah.
This guy tried dog collars on himself. And I think that should be commended.
Yeah.
And I think for Louis Ng to kind of extend the branch out there, maybe not an alley-oop, but maybe pass Tan Kiat how the ball.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a good way of, asking a question that required follow-up, but also kind of letting the public know that, okay, this guy actually did the dog collars on himself. So to me, it's like a mini alley-oop.
Yeah. This is like the equivalent of, hey, transport minister never take public transport and that kind of thing, right? That criticism.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, hey, you talk about dog regulations, but you never go and try the electric dog collar yourself.
Yeah, I tried.
I tried.
Yeah, I tried.
I tried. Every day I tried. Every day 7 o'clock I try one.
Now I'm up to level 8 already. Maybe in a few months I can reach level 9.
Yeah.
And he said, he got his whole team and he emphasized he tried. I don't think he made anyone else try.
You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know.
That's the funny thing about the mothership, that thing. Because I first heard about this, it was going around in like the dog lovers WhatsApp groups that I'm part of, right? And all generally the response was like curious, like what? Kind of like responses to it.
That he tried it.
Yeah, that he tried it. Yeah. But I would say that it's not the first time this kind of experiment has been done. In fact, I've seen other animal activists in Singapore do this. In fact, I believe that photo of a lady with the dog collar around the dog collar around her neck is from that particular animal activist couple, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it was something that they'd done in the past, to highlight how painful this is, and I guess it's good that their experiment has inspired a member of parliament to also try it himself, and he has come back to report about it, right? But you say that you thought it was a good thing. I see people online also commending him for it, and that kind of surprised me. I thought because I thought the main response would be like BDSM kink, memes and stuff like that. But it turned around, people said this is the kind of member of parliament we need.
Yeah. That's what I feel also.
Yeah.
You don't feel that?
To be honest, that was not my first thought. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Your first thought was like, hey, this is weird, is it?
No, because watching the exchange, I do see and I know where Louis Ng is coming from. I know that he's a dog, like a pet advocate and everything.
Yeah.
He looked kind of like, at least the line of questioning, he looked kind of like, please provide update, like kind of distressed about it. And then after that, this MP comes on and says, oh, I tried dog collars on myself, that
wasn't the only thing in his state.
I know but a bit, to me, it was a bit besides the point about it also It's a bit of like what you said, a showy attempt to show that he understands the issue, whereas I think what Louis Ng was saying is that isn't it obvious that this is very painful? It's animal abuse. A lot of developed countries have already banned the use of these things. What are we taking so long to deliberate over? That is what I gathered from the question. So I didn't really feel that it was that kind of alley-oop that you were talking about. Yeah.
So I guess that's it's two sides of the same coin. For me, it was in some way.
You like people wearing dog collars?
No. No, I guess like what you are saying is that if you look at the crux of what was discussed, the update was substandard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because all the outcome is that the new guidelines will be coming very soon.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been years already, right?
Yeah.
Since they discussed it.
But to me, I guess I fell for the theatrics. And I wouldn't say these theatrics are as political as like sometimes it seems very rehearsed. This one, okay, so I'm just comparing that if Tan Kiat said what he said without any element of him actually trying to dog collar versus with him actually trying to dog collar. And I think there's a bit more, I wouldn't say credibility, but like, okay lah, this guy is trying with him talking about the dog collar lah. And I think as a politician, you also need to build trust and how you say not to say put yourself through ridiculous situations, but to show that you are willing to go the extra mile. And in this case, I feel like, okay lah, that is an interesting step lah.
And I think maybe it was something that he did together with his NPARK colleagues lah. Right?
Like Friday night, hey bro, you want dog collar or not?
We're deciding whether to ban these things, so why don't we try that ourselves? It's kind of like, oh, imagine you said that about drugs and all that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, guys, I think weed, marijuana, cannot. We tried it last Friday. We couldn't do any work. But we felt very relaxed.
Yeah, so if you don't do that for drugs, how come dog collar you can take your time to go and test and try? That's the one funny thing to me. Like,
oh, I see. Well, maybe that should be mandated. Anything they want to pass.
Any vice that you want to
policy, simply go. You got try or not? You got try to simply go or not? You try then you talk.
Yeah.
So in this case, like, it's refreshing, like, you know? Every time all these policies pass and like, okay, it feels like, are they actually going to be subject to the policies that they're passing? But in this case, yeah.
The disconnect.
Yeah.
So he tried to bridge the disconnect.
It's a bit more connected. It's a bit more
see,
connected.
Yeah. No, I mean, I give that to him. I give that to him. That it triggered, again, a conversation. And you know, if what he wanted was more eyes, more attentive on this issue, it worked, right? And but the only thing I guess I would ask is, if we just take whatever the politicians are saying at face value, that Louis Ng doesn't know what updates there are, and he's asking in all honesty to Tan Kiat like what's going on. It means that somebody must have leaked the information about Tan Kiat using the dog collars to Louis Ng, right? Someone within the group who knew that was happening was like, hey, dude, this guy, he's trying out the electronic dog collars.
Guess what Kiat did today? You never go to guess, bro.
It'd be like the Taylor Swift, the taking photos surreptitiously, quietly, look at this guy. Then he sent to Louis Ng.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so somehow he got the info.
Yeah, somehow. I believe that, SMS has tried it himself. That's such a strange thing to be revealing to each other. Yeah.
Because the other one will be like, hey, you know, I think this person's sleeping with that person. That person. Then Kiat is like trying dog collars on himself. Which in some way, again, is refreshing. It's refreshing that he is doing something that is weird, but in almost related to his portfolio, you know.
Correct, yeah.
So yeah, like, but within the dog community, how was it being seen? Apart from people being surprised?
No, so yeah, it elicited, I mean, it actually brought out very heated debates. Some people are saying that it just should outright be banned, right? And if you're a trainer who uses it, you are just a bad trainer. And some people are quite defensive, saying that you must really understand the context of when it's used. Sometimes it's for really, let's say, a very aggressive dog that would otherwise have to be put down, right? You know, because it poses a danger.
And if it's a big dog, right?
Big dog and everything. And if they're able to use this device to, you know, save the dog's life in some way, not such as has to be put down. It doesn't have to be put down. There's pros and cons to it, right? But it goes down to a very philosophical debate about you know, can you empathize with what the animal's feeling, right? Because ultimately, if it's uncomfortable for the animal, some people might even say, hey, maybe if the animal is really having issues, maybe putting it down is a better option than, you know, subjecting it to this kind of cruelty, right? Of pain around his neck and all. And again, like, I'm glad to see that the Tan Kiat put it around his arm and not his neck, right? Because I think the neck for everyone human is much more sensitive also, right? And so who's to say that that the way we experience the pain of a dog collar is the same as what the animals experience. Maybe it feels 100 times worse, right? It's like a woman telling you like how childbirth feels. Like you, as a guy, you never really
the machines, the machines you put on your waist.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different, lah. And then they tell you about the process of childbirth. And you're like, how do you even comprehend that kind of pain, right? You'll never be able to comprehend that pain. So same for between animals as well. We can't even ask dogs how they feel about it, right? So should we assume that just because we think it's manageable, it's okay, that it's okay for them, lah? So it's a very, I mean, it's not like you're going to win this debate argument, but it's interesting to see that there's a lot of countries that have already banned it, and the fact that Singapore still hasn't. Yeah, the fact that Singapore still hasn't is an interesting fact, right? Yeah. I mean, I know people who use the dog collars, and some of them are very pleased with the results of how they've managed to integrate the dog more safely in their lives, right? With small children and everything around. Not that I'm advocating it. Not that I'm advocating it at all. Like, it's their, I feel it's their prerogative as the pet owner, right? And I don't know the full process of what they went through, but I have seen behavioral changes in the animals.
Oh, really?
After that, a very quick, short process of a few weeks only.
I'm guessing like that could also work on humans, right? Like you don't return your tray, fucking kena zap.
Oh yeah. And then really
everyone confirm return tray.
Don't even kena zap. You just pay fine on it straight away. Everyone will change their behavior.
Like, can you imagine you add a zap or not?
Yeah.
You want to jaywalk, kena zap.
Yeah.
Our country will become very obedient. But then it becomes like, is that the best way? Right? Is that the best way?
Is that humane to say?
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, he didn't say when the thing will be released.
He said months. Months.
Oh, months.
Which gives it, I mean, at least it gives it a timeline, because I think it was brought up in 2020 already.
2020. Oh, yeah, correct. 2020.
Once or twice since then.
And he even complimented Louis Ng's doggedness.
Yeah.
Funny, very funny.
Very funny.
But yeah, so, I mean, hopefully we see more. Now, maybe other ministers or MPs will be like, wow, this cat how. Now people going to say, hey, cat how can use dog collar, why I cannot use Simply Go?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, lama, this cat how small market.
Why you cannot live on the minimum
yeah,
wage?
That's right. Oh, lama. Shit, man.
You try.
Yeah, he try, right. The cat how way.
But shout out to him, I think, for
at
least taking a different approach to everything.
Right? If we ever get you on our podcast, cat how, we'll have a
7 types of Yalabat tries dog collars with senior minister.
You got other podcasters saying, this one tries Asian snacks. No, Singapore dog collars. You come on Yalabat, you try Singaporean dog collars.
Yeah.
Solid, yeah.
Oh, man.
Solid. But yeah, man.
Cool. And it's been we've had a couple of really engaging podcasts recently in terms of audience response. What is your one Shiok comment from all these podcasts?
My one Shiok comment was something that literally made me crack up when I saw it.
Yeah.
It was on the Reddit post of our Yalabat 500.
Yeah.
By Sometimes Incorrect. And they posted, congrats on the 500th episode. Been here since the first. Holy shit, that's awesome. Love your content, especially when I was working in Shanghai. Your website looks great too. P.S. I noticed the LinkedIn button on your site links to Harish's profile. Yeah. Seems like a Harish move.
Totally.
And I read, okay, so the context is when I was putting figuring out where to link it to, I was like, okay, our MOF page, Yalabat page on LinkedIn is really just starting out. So, given Terence is also not the most active, if there's one page to link to generate conversation, okay, keep it in mind, but it was meant to be a placeholder, okay? It was meant to be a placeholder.
That's what they all say.
That will change. But I just found it hilarious that they say it seems like a Harish move.
Yeah.
Come on, Terence. Tell me that isn't true.
If you so I mean, that's what you're going to say when you post that crying video of you on LinkedIn. It's just a placeholder for something more emotional I want to put down.
Seems like a Harish move. Yeah. Fucking made my days reading that. But thanks for listening to 500 episodes. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What about you, man?
Actually, there were a lot of interesting comments that came out about when we talked about the whole Taylor Swift in belonging in Singapore exclusively thing, right? And some of them, I think the ones that are were really like striking to me were those that actually talked about other countries as well, right? The setup in other countries. And for example, I think someone Skinny Waltz was saying that Taylor Swift's stage setup is too big to fit into any of the stadiums in the Philippines. So a lot of the Philippines fans understand that and aren't actually that upset. So actually that was it's news to me because I thought the Philippines stadium could accommodate 55,000 people. So I'm not sure if this is true, but I think it'd be interesting if someone could verify that.
But they were saying the equipment or just the whole amount of people?
The stage setup is too big. Yeah. So to me, that's actually it's an interesting nugget of information that I do hope someone who understands the stadium in the Philippines can verify. And yeah, it just adds a bit more color to the conversation in terms of understanding why she might have made a decision as well. Yeah. And especially and seeing that there were a lot of Filipino fans who came in for the concert in Singapore and looked very happy and excited in videos and all that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we're missing, the Filipino perspective as well.
Because now, I mean, there are more and more articles talking about how Singapore is sowing the seeds of discontent around the region, right?
Correct.
But yeah, maybe in some way, like it's like the perspective of the other countries is different from what we think.
And staying in the Philippines, someone else, Douglas Stanley 5209, also said, if Bruno Mars, a Filipino, chooses to perform in Singapore and not in the Philippines, then the Filipino ministers can look in the mirror and laugh at themselves. It will be even a better laugh if the Filipino fans of Bruno Mars travel to support Bruno Mars in Singapore. So the Filipino ministers better do something now with the Bruno Mars concert.
Like now a Malaysian MP is asking for Anwar's cabinet to answer why they didn't get Taylor Swift in.
Yeah.
Because apparently they started speaking to Taylor Swift in 2022.
Also they did? Okay. So yeah, all these things are coming out of the closet already, right? They give you a bit more better understanding of why maybe she made her decisions.
But still haven't seen any articles at all talking about Taylor Swift and her team's perspective about why they choose to just be exclusive to one country or apparently exclusive, which I think needs more attention.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, cool.
Yep.
And what about your one Shiok thing, man?
My one Shiok thing was actually a podcast. It's the Verge podcast Decoder. And I think I shared with you previously already, but it's basically the Hank Green, the science educator and YouTuber, actually got invited onto the Verge Decoder podcast to interview the host of the Verge Decoder podcast himself, Nilay Patel. And I thought it was like super interesting because for those who don't know, the Verge is a tech magazine or tech website that has been around since the 2010s, and it's still running as a website that makes money from advertising, which is so unheard of in this day already. And it's still surviving, still doing well, still profitable apparently. And the podcast, The Decoder, is a really interesting one because they talk to a lot of tech CEOs and all. So this is the first time where I've actually heard the host himself being interviewed by someone also who's very respected in the YouTube space, right? Hank Green. So it was a very, very illuminating conversation, and they talk about a lot of things that I didn't even know existed, like the Fediverse. Yeah, apparently that's a thing now. Those who don't know, go and check out the Fediverse.
I mean, I will second the podcast because after Terrence mentioned it, I listened to it and it was really damn good because he has really interesting takes about the internet and websites versus all the social media platforms and all.
Because given that like Vice, for example, is gone, Vice, $1 billion company at one point. The digital media space is just imploding. Has imploded already, right? So who of all those platforms surviving, how are they doing it? I think that's super interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
My one Shiok thing is also a podcast per se, but it is the Overlap podcast. Have you heard of it? It's a podcast with Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Jill Scott, Ian Wright, and Roy Keane. So four of them are footballing legends. I'm not so sure about Jill Scott. I don't know whether she's a female footballing legend. But they recently had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very nicely shot. They sit down around a nice room, well shot, and they talk about like football. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for non-soccer fans, he was a manager when Cristiano Ronaldo made his return back to Man U.
Yeah.
And he is quite open about that whole thing. Amongst many other things they talk about. Like the question was signing Cristiano Ronaldo a regret? And I think what I understood up till now was that it was forced upon him. But he actually said no. At that point, it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And he doesn't regret the decision. He's just sad at how it turned out.
Yeah.
So it was a very honest take. And like I thought, hey, actually, that's quite interesting. I haven't listened to the full thing yet. But the podcast, especially if you grew up in that era, seeing these people talk and all, it's pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, now, like Ronaldo having some not doing great in Saudi Arabia.
So is it like
they're not leading the league?
They're not.
Like 9 points off or something. And I think he got banned for making some. Not say banned, but like he is suspended for one game for making some obscene gestures or right?
Yeah. Correct.
Whereas Messi is just lighting up the MLS on the other side of the world.
Is he? Are they doing well as a club?
I think they just started the season, and he's had some spectacular goals and assists already. Yeah. So I mean, the fact that everyone's still talking about Messi and all,
but you know, Ronaldo's team beat Messi's team 6-0 and during the tour, right? When Inter Miami went.
But they didn't play, neither of them played, right? Yeah, neither of them. Ronaldo definitely didn't play. Yeah. I think it would have been a bigger news if he did, but yeah.
6-0. You can tell I still have a soft spot for Cristiano.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool, man. Cool.
We're going to barrel on through Taylor Swift week.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully, we'll see.
But next episode will be post Taylor week, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Remember, follow us on social media. Subscribe. Check out our website, ministryoffunny.com. And if you want to work with us, email us at
contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Sweet, man. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.